Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is KarQ. Welcome to the KarKives, the KarQ Archives channel, my second channel, where it's a lot more casual, candid, all from twitch.tv/KarQ, my live stream. Today, I'm going to be answering questions, the top questions asked on Overwatch University, kind of like the Wired's tech support. Cue the intro. Let's sort by top first. Some of these questions that were most upvoted were probably a long time ago. Yeah, these were 8 days ago, 26 days ago. Sojourn being strong. Yeah, totally. Let's just go from the top and then we'll flip to the new after. How do I explain to my friend that healers aren't his issue? My friend, who is a tank main, regularly plays with us in the 3 to 5 stack depending on who's online. He goes for kills, blah, blah, blah. I play DPS, try to help him out. He complains about our friend, even though he'd prefer not to, switches to Mercy to pocket him so he can get the heals he always complains about not getting. Okay, first of all, Mercy usually should not be pocketing the tank. Okay. This wouldn't be such a problem if it weren't for the fact that he dives into the enemy team and gets shot at by pretty much all 5 people, and I can't get it through to him that no amount of healing can help him here. The one time I even got him to slightly understand it, he said to me that the other DPS should be killing everyone if he's getting focused, but we're never diving into the enemy team with him. Otherwise, we never managed to move the point. He primarily blames healers for not healing them, occasionally calls me and other DPS out for things we can't control. Issue is, it's never his fault, not poor positioning, not the fact he expects our support to dodge every single bullet coming at them. I must admit, I sure could be doing more in these situations, and if you have any ideas how I could improve the situation, please let me know. But how would I explain to my friend that he can't possibly have good enough healers for that? He doesn't listen to me. He believes he is so much better than me because he gets more kills every game. I'm just about tired of his ego, and I'm not sure how to get him to understand. Okay, first of all, you need a new friend, at least a gaming friend. I've definitely had friends that I'm totally cool with IRL outside of game, but when they're in game, they're really insufferable and hard to play with, and I'm just not having fun when they blame everybody but themselves, especially if they blame the friend group, especially if we're just casual gamers. So first of all, as tough as it is, you might want to consider, it might feel a bit, once in a while play with them, but that's the first thing. That's what I would do. But second of all, like you basically spelled it out for him, like no amount of healing or no amount of, but you basically spelled it out for him. No amount of healing and no, like, you can't expect you to dodge every bullet. If he doesn't understand that simple concept of Overwatch, I'm not sure what else you could really say. Like, you can argue that he's making space, but just, call out a positional time, call out the timing of the dive if he's diving in deep. You can use the ping system that has a 3, 2, 1 countdown. That could help as well. And make him understand that your job isn't to dive in and try to attract all 5 people. You can make some space, but it's all about timing as a main tank. And it seems like he's playing like a divey tank like Winston. You have to jump in. You don't actually have to like go deep into the backlines. You can tell him that. You can just go far enough, drop an early bubble, and take space from like a high ground, for example. Just a little bit to at least respect you, and they can, move back from the space. A lot of people get the misconception of tanks, or a lot of tank players have the misconception that you have to dive all the way to the backline. But what if they're so far away that you're more than 2 leaps away? You dive kind of in front of them, you drop your bubble, and then there's as a Winston, and then all 5 of them are looking at you. Because like, all you need to do is take a little bit of space, take as much space as you can without jumping first before they like start respecting you, start shooting you down. Then if someone's caught out of position, they can go for him. But if they're close enough, drop your bubble, make them respect it, make them back off. Not much else there is to say. Let's see what the top comment is. Have him switch roles for a game. He plays healer, you play Winston, constantly diving the enemy team and blame him every time you die, which happens a lot. Sometimes people just need to see the perspective of the other role to understand what it looks like. I also find that not everyone at 600 health is a good line for tanks that blame teammates for not coming in. You also can't heal stupid. You should also tell him that. I have no clue how to play the way he does. He plays that instinct. He has an excuse for everything. Dude, just play with someone else. A new player here, I have a question about throw picks. Okay. Got this game a few weeks ago. I'm having the most fun with Ryan and Brig, mostly because I can't aim that well with the analog stick. So as a console player, started to learn to play damage recently with Cassidy, Ashe, and Torb because I love cowboy settings. What I noticed that when I pick Torb, I receive messages about gameplay sabotage because I picked Torb. These things happen in roll queue, quick play, not comp. I'm just trying to get a good feel for the game when I learn 3 characters. So for the more experienced players out there, is there an exact list of throw picks or just bad characters in general? I don't want to deal with toxicity because I play a low-rated character. You know what's funny? Torb is one of the best heroes to play if you're new, because that hero plays himself. You put a turret, he's a 6th player in a lobby full of newbies. And I don't mean that offensively if you're a noob. You're not an NOOB, you're an NEWB. There's a difference. The thing is, like, people will say that no matter what rank you play at. Even if you're brand new, people will call it gameplay sabotage. People will say you're throwing. It's probably translating back to Overwatch 1 where it was Symmetra and Torbjorn. But genuinely speaking, Torbjorn is a pretty good hero right now. Maybe Torb, And then when you're playing Brig, and like the Brig and Zen, that's not really viable in high elos, like high elos right now, because like no one plays Zen unless it's like Sigma poke, but we won't get into that. But for newbies and your metal ranks, and 99% of ranked times, you can play any hero in the game. The thing to remember is that it's a throw pick, maybe relative to someone's perspective in a team comp, but just remember that somebody out there has one-tricked your hero into top 500. It's possible, and there's no such thing as like a complete throw pick. You can make any hero work. Maybe synergies will be off, but if you're really adept at that hero, you can still make it work. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, excuse me. Why is there a someone else will get it mentality with Torb/Sim turrets and Pharah? That's actually a good question. That's the bystander effect. How come in low elo games, it seems like people really just just take a someone else will get it mentality, and a Torb turret will ravage teams. People will stand right by the Sim turret as they engage in a fight, not even turn around. To be fair, the Sim turret's kind of quiet. I can't tell when I'm being zapped sometimes. It's not as obvious, especially in the hectic team fight. Finally, I just had a match where Pharah went 2 whole rounds practically uncontested. DPS were hard stuck. Sojourn, Soldier, and the tank was Orisa both rounds. I switched from Lucio to Moira to Bap, but alas, the Pharah had 20 plus kills, 2 deaths. Both rounds, none of the DPS targeters chose to switch to Ashe. Anyways, my aim was better on Bap or Anna. I could have done something, so I suck. So there's my contribution. Seriously, how do people pretend that they don't exist? And as a support is my way to counter this to just get good at Bap and Anna hit skin. I'm usually Lucio and I just stuck. Yeah, so that's why like Pharah does run rampant, I know, on console metal ranks. The whole Moira choice was interesting. I understand you might switch that for survivability, but Lucio should have high survivability. Same with Moira if you want to quote unquote ignore the Pharah. If you think about it this way, if it's Pharah Mercy in the sky, there's only 3 other people on the ground. You could run a strategy. You kind of have to communicate to your team like, hey, if nobody's shooting them, you can ignore them and go for the other 3 people. The other option is, like you said, play Bap or Anna. You say you suck, but there's no way to get better unless you try shooting them. Now, the thing to remember is Bap or Anna is you don't actually have to kill the Pharah in the sky. You just have to shoot them a few times. Shoot her a few times to condition her, to make her be wary of her sight lines. Like if she flies out in the open uncontested, it's very easy for her to just focus on shooting your team. But if you're a Baptiste and you just put a little bit of pressure on her, same with Ana, a single shot, sure, she'll get picked or healed back up by Mercy, but now she's like, oh shit, I just got shot at. Maybe I have to like fly a little bit back here, fly behind cover. She loses a lot of aerial space by simply pressuring her. So even if you suck, it's still worth it to put a bullet or 2 into them when possible, which will remove the space and indirectly or directly decrease the amount of value that the Pharah has. That's one thing you could do. This whole like, you know, it's someone else's job. Somebody could just be like, hey, Soldier, can you focus her? And just remind them that you don't have to kill them, but at least put some bullets into them. Especially a Soldier, you just kind of a little bit of peppering does a lot. The top comment says, low elo suffers from tunnel vision and playing scared. People focus the tank will get healed up easily, are too afraid. And I mean, this wasn't very helpful, but I gave you a little bit of helpful advice, hopefully, to help you deal with them. But the thing is, if you have everybody else has the someone else will get it mentality, just you do it. You see a sim turret, you just shoot it. How do you stop Reaper as a healer? Assume your team 100% ignores him. You run away. I just read the question, I can just answer it from the top. If I tell someone, tells me ping him, I'm gonna break a chair. Best guy sees sleeping as Ana, but just delays the problem. Even if I headshot him as Zen or Bap, he just wraiths in and comes back. Has to be a solution. I just glanced at this answer. This is actually a good answer. First is to predict where the Reaper will come from so you won't get caught off guard. Ironically, the more a Reaper flanks, the more predictable he comes. You do need to understand all the flank routes on the map. If a Reaper gives you trouble, watch the replay from his perspective, understand his pathing and engagement timings. To get help, playing the middle of your team so Reaper becomes their problem. Many players in low ranks won't fire until fired upon because they're honorable gentlemen and ladies. Nah, it's because they're not aware of them. They can't see them. That's actually really solid advice. I like this answer. When I'm playing Ana or I know a Reaper is flanking, it's really hard to listen for the sound, but literally as soon as I see or hear the shadow step coming in, If I don't have cooldowns available, like a sleep dart, I don't have a KarQ swift step, I don't have Suzu, I just run. Every meter of distance of separation you can create from Reaper reduces his damage significantly. He's a shotgun based hero, and 5 meters or actually even 10 meters away, which is actually like if you see the TP and you just walk forward before he arrives, you're actually making him do like less than 30 damage per shotgun. If you don't move, he can actually one-shot you. It is actually crazy how much that damage range changes based on his pellet radius. So creating separation, #1 priority if no one's helping you. If he wraiths in, he's committing and he's gonna blow the cooldown. Then you really gotta yell at your team, be like, he's gonna have no wraith if he's still committing. He's probably gonna ult, or if he's like blowing his cooldown really early, you do have to turn, at least force him away, or at least hopefully kill him. So now I'm gonna change the filter to a couple of the new questions for November that were probably uploaded within today, and just rapid fire, read the question from the top. Not too much context in the body unless I absolutely need it, and kind of do like a rapid fire, maybe answer 10 straight questions. Did comp get harder all of a sudden? This is because we're in the final week of season 1. End of season tends to have harder games, strictly because a lot of people have either hit their goals or they don't care as much anymore, and they'll tend to flex. Myself included, I'm a support main. I hit my goal. I hit my GM1 goal, little flex. So I'm diamond on tank and DPS right now. So I'm gonna queue with diamonds tomorrow, and then people who are regularly in diamond might be like, oh, why are these games so hard? Because KarQ's on DPS, doesn't play DPS, which is kind of true. I got placed there, so I still have to work my way down. So you might run into people who are also just like finishing their off rolls, and that might contextually make games a little bit harder, or at least you'll have more games where people aren't as familiar with the role. That being said, if it's happening to you, it's equally likely that's happening to the enemy team, so it's just a bit of confirmation bias, if that's the right term, so I wouldn't worry so much. Totally mismatched games. I'm bronze, been thrown to gold, plat rank games. Yeah, there's a little bit of a mismatch. There's a game I played 2 days ago. I'm in GM1 and I had diamond 1 on my team. That's 10 ranks different. 10 ranks at that level, and safe to say we lost, and he definitely underperformed, and he felt bad. He's like, listen, I'm trying to vibe on this is my alt account. I haven't played in a couple of years. He probably had higher MMR before, but that's tough. Any way to make desync problems somewhat better? Oh, desync? We watched replays complaining about the desync. I wonder if there's anything that we could do. Yeah, this is like a really vague question. If it's not high latency, sometimes she's shooting someone, but it's basically no registration. That could also be a network issue. A lot of times on your end, you have packet loss, right? Oh, you have 300 FPS, good monitor. It's probably your internet packet loss, because I don't think the server's having issues, especially today. The typical advice of grouping up doesn't seem to work for me. Okay, I need the body of this. I often hear this, and I get it from the perspective of all being alive in the vicinity of each other while initiating a fight taking. Basically, don't trickle fight. But in Overwatch 2, I found it's basically non-stop Reaper, Genji, McCree, and even Junkrat flanks playing on their own, and they rip apart the backline since they're designed to win 1v1 or beat supports. All the new maps of so many side upper buildings or supports die, blah 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 blah. I've never found grouping up doesn't seem to work. The very most important thing that I find a lot of newer or older, that's both categories, that players find is that they feel like they need to group up as 5 to win a team fight. While yes, this is the correct information or advice in most cases, if you lose someone and one of your teammates gets picked, a lot of people default to, hey, can we group up? And then nobody groups up and they end up getting staggered because nobody wants to commit in a 4v5, which generally speaking, you do enter the fight at a disadvantage. But on the flip side, how long ago did they die? What ultimates do you have available? Sometimes you're able to turn a 4v5 or 3v5 around strictly based on your ultimate usage, how much health the enemy is, where they're standing, and how much resources they expended to even get that first or second kill. So as good as regrouping up is, let's say they expended a lot of resources, the team fight was kind of staggered and stale, and then they got one pick and you're down a person, but they expended 3 ults, you guys didn't use anything, they got a kill, but you still have KarQ's Kitsune Rush, you have a Dragon Blade available, and your tank has their ultimate as well. You can 100% still turn and actually have greater than a 50% chance of winning. And I've been able to turn 3v5s, 4v5s around really regularly. Even like Sojourn Overclock too. Any high value ultimates can still turn. So as much as you say person's dying first and then no one's regrouping, you could just check those variables that I mentioned earlier and see if you can turn it. And it sounds kind of like crazy, like you're going in 4v5 and see if you can turn it, but you won't know when you're able to turn fights unless you at least try expending ults at a disadvantage. A lot of times it may not work, but that's a learning experience. I wasn't good at it, 5-6 years ago when I played Overwatch 1, but then I realized slowly, or even when you watch the Overwatch League, you can literally see it there. It's like, oh no, they're down 3v5, but then, oh, they're still expending their ults? What? Maybe it's winnable, right? That comes with experience. There's no way to get that experience unless you try it for yourself, so go ahead. Question for a new player, do I need multiple heroes for ranked? No, people have been able to one-trick a single hero in ranked the whole time, but if you play a role, it is advised to be able to play a few options, right? A few options. That will be appreciated by your teammates, but it is not necessary. 30% win rate on main, 60% win rate on smurf. Not even, yes, people have this experience. Your sample size is too small. If you're 30% win rate on main after 500 games, that is concerning. You will probably derank until it goes back to 50%, 60% win rate on a smurf. New account, high variance in your rating, smaller sample size. Also your mental as well. A lot of people feel like when it's a smurf, they're a bit more relaxed. It's like, oh, they don't care as much. But when you're trying to play and win on your main, it's just like there's a level of pressure and an intangible there. Why does Blizzard punish you for playing intelligently? What? Sounds like a silly question, but let's see. This is a rare set of circumstances. This has happened multiple times. My team is pushed back into spawn. I stay behind the door so I cannot take damage, but can deal damage. And the game threatens to boot me even though I'm dealing the most damage with the fewest deaths. You're actively damaging the enemy team. Why does the game threaten you to kick you for inactivity? The only way to stop the clock is to step outside the spawn where you can be damaged. And you can't even use the side doors because the game gives you like 6 seconds. And if what? Your team, this is Blizzard kicking dirt in your face. Your team is already uncoordinated enough to successfully leave the spawn. The game forces you to play poorly. Why is this a thing and how can I avoid it? Huh? You have to stay in the spawn for how you have to stay in the spawn the whole time. It's not even, first of all, you're not playing intelligently if you're all stuck in spawn. The intelligent thing is to regroup and go out together with your tank. You can sit in spawn for like a few moments to jiggle a little bit, get the instant healing. Depends on the map too. I'm not sure too many maps that have a sight line, a strong sight line from exactly the healing spawn door to get that inactivity thing. And I'm pretty sure the moment you do damage, it kicks the inactivity message away. So I don't know, this one's this is probably just like a one-time rant from this person. How to peel as a tank. Actually, a lot of times I find in Overwatch 2, it's not so much the tanks peel. A lot of the times they have to aggressively take space. If they're backing up to peel back, they're giving up space. It's really contextual, but I find that it's not their job as often anymore. Even as Diva, I find that sometimes they can fly back, hold the matrix up because if it's long range, but then continuously fly forward to continue pressuring them. Maybe when they're backing up, they can peel, but this person say they're playing Winston. You want to continuously take space, draw attention to yourself without dying. Surviving is your #1 key. How to aim at air targets. Well, aerial movement tends to have two things. If you're air targets, there's only a few of them in the sky. Pharah, Mercy, Echo, right? For Pharahs, what they tend to do if they want to hover is they'll bounce like this, right? And a lot of them, if they're flying in a straight line like this, that's a sign of a not good Pharah. That shouldn't even be very hard to hit because from your perspective, they're doing this. But if they're you have to kind of expect them to kind of float like this, and there's a little bit more of a y-axis since they could go up and down. If you're a hit scan, it's the same thing, you just shoot them. But if you're talking about projectiles, hitting them in the air, I find that aiming at their chest or their legs even is pretty good. Their legs have individual hitboxes. Yes, your bullet could aim between their legs, but what happens is since they often dip down, aiming around the legs is pretty safe. I know a lot of Hanzo players recommended that back in the day. I don't play too much Hanzo now, but the advice seems to be pretty relevant where, your arrows have a little bit of drop off. You aim around their crotch, leg area, and they tend to dip down and they'll likely hit their chest. Okay, and that is a few questions I've answered on Overwatch University. Hopefully those people found it helpful. Maybe that answered a question that you had as well. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Kiss. Oh. Down. Up. Shake. Don't let go. You hold my hand, okay? Don't let go. Hey, hey.